And welcome to the new and improved Tea Time with Brian. These times have been hectic to say the least, but even through all the craziness, we want to make sure that you are up to date with all the Georgia things that affect the lives of young people of color in the state. Our goal is to give you the tea so we can all have the resources to fight the disinformation that we see everywhere in online spaces. And with that, let's take a sip of our tea today. And I'm actually drinking some ginger turmeric, to just help with everything going on. So cheers. And let's dive into the topics that we'll talk about today. So definitely we want to first start off with the absentee ballots. And what is it? When you hear absentee ballots, a lot of things come into play. In the media, we've seen that they're definitely talking about what are the differences between absentee ballots as well as mail-in voting. Well, let me just start off by defining what it is. Voting by mail is a safe and secure and the best way to ensure that everyone can vote safely during this pandemic. Our military service members have been voting by mail since the Civil War. So, definitely a lot of time, a long time. And, our democracy works best when everyone can participate. And we should be expanding our access to the ballot and not making it harder for people to vote. We want to make sure that our voices are being heard. So we'll start, continue with busting some myths. Like I mentioned, absentee voting and mail-in voting are the same thing. Do not let anybody guide you and tell you something different. No, it is the exact same thing. The administration, cannot ban mail-in voting through an executive order. That's another myth that I want to make sure that we bust. States are the ones that are in charge of running elections. Universal mail-in voting can actually be achieved. One of the reasons they say that, it's going to not be possible, that is incorrect. We see that Oregon has actually done it in the past, and it's actually currently that is their system. They vote entirely by mail-in voting, which is, they've been doing successfully for a number of years. And actually 42 out of the 50 states are accepting mail-in voting this year without any excuses. You just have to make sure you send it in. And just to specifically talk about Georgia, no excuse is required to vote before Election Day. And that is not just for absentee voting, that is also for early voting. You can early vote. And I'll tell you in a second more about early voting. And let's go now to where can I find this absentee voting, as well as mail it in. Your best friend would be the sos.ga.gov website. That website is definitely the one that you want to make sure that you are checking consistently to make sure that you are up to date with the new updates that are happening. This pandemic has made it a new field for all of us. I think that we're all learning as we go. But, to request, how to submit it. To request an absentee ballot, you have to fill in an absentee ballot application. It's very, very easy. You can just put in absentee ballot application in Google and it will pop up. Make sure it's at the sos.ga.gov website. And you can actually return it in a plethora of ways. Absentee ballots application can be returned by mail, by fax, and by email as an attachment. Or, if you want to make sure that it is done right away and how you want it to go, you can, safely with your mask, go to your county board of registrar's office. And you can actually deliver it yourself, and they have a bin where you can drop it off. It's super easy to fill out. If you guys request it, I would be more than happy to later on show you how to fill it out. But it's only 8 to 10 personal questions, just asking you what date is the election, and it's November 3rd. So make sure you put that in your calendar. November 3rd is the election, and all the other ones is just personal questions like your name, your address, and where you want to receive it. And let's just talk about now some voting deadlines. I think that all of us, we can all relate that sometimes we live it to the last minute, but we want to make sure that with everything going on, we have a plan with how we're going to go about voting. Election day, like I mentioned, is Tuesday, November 3rd. And you can, most of precincts is from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The deadline to make sure to go back to the absentee ballot if you're not registered online, if you for whatever reason have not voted in the last couple of elections, we want to make sure you're still able to vote. The deadline to register to vote online is Monday, October 5th. So it's coming up rather quick. You have about a month to register. Please, please, please comment below if you are not register, so I can send you the link and we can get you registered. We want to make sure that as many people, young people of color, are voting in the States, because all these decisions are going to affect our future. Similarly, the deadline to request a ballot is at the end of October, October 30th, 2020. It needs to be received by then in order for you to request a ballot. So, don't leave it to the last minute. I know we're all guilty of that. We all are guilty of, leaving things to the last minute, but this is very important. This is a very important election. So we want to make sure that all of us are able to vote and not given, and not given the options not to. The early voting, this is personally my personal favorite. I personally like to vote early, just because you avoid all the lines that you see on election day. Normally in Georgia is going to run from October 12th, which is a Monday, till Friday, October the 30th. So that gives you about 2 weeks. But please check in with your local county to know what dates and hours are based, because they might differ by where you live on the state. So please, please, please make a plan to vote with your friends. I personally always like to go with my best friend, just because, if it's election day, I have somebody to talk to. But if it's voting early, I either go with my sister or with my mom to make sure that their voices are being heard, because it's very important. Now let's go on to, our favorite our favorite topic, Ms. Rona, COVID-19. She has definitely come through and made all our summer plans be different, and a whole entire new year that I think none of us, once in a lifetime, that's how to describe it, once in a lifetime experience. I think that we millennials have gone through a lot of once in a lifetime things, but this is just another one added to the list. But we just want to give you some updates. Most cities in Georgia are actually asking for mask mandates. So, whenever you want to go do your shopping or, be outside for whatever reason, the city of Atlanta, as well as Macon and Augusta, they're encouraging all of their citizens to please, wear their masks. Is very important. As I'm sure you've seen it everywhere, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but please, always wear your mask. Please keep social distancing if you can. I know that a lot of, we as people of color, a lot of us are essential workers, so I want to make sure that you are safe. And also, your hand sanitizer, but please, please, please do not forget that hand sanitizer does not substitute washing your hands. Please wash your hands, just because it's the right thing to do, as well as, to keep you healthy. And then, this is just a little disappointing, but unfortunately, Georgia now is the #1 state for new infections. It changes week by week, and I feel like we've been battling either Arizona, Texas, or Florida. Georgia, please, we need to do better, people. Please wear your mask. But and I always say, I'm like, it's bad when we're worse than Florida. I love my Florida people, but you guys bear the brunt of a lot of craziness down there. But we love our neighbors to the south. But please, please, please wear your mask. It's very important to make sure that we keep not only our people that we don't know safe, but also the people at our houses. Especially for people of color, a lot of us who live in intergenerational homes, meaning that there's multiple generations in a household. So we want to make sure that we are taking care of our grandparents, nuestros abuelos, abuelas, our tias that are older, to make sure that they are safe and are not exposed to the virus. Where to get tested? I think that is a key thing for all of us to be aware of. Most places offer you for free, or just ask you for your insurance. But I want to make sure that we are giving you access to the ones that are for free. Augusta University Medical Center, from our ED, Ian, he has told us that you actually get those results in less than 24 hours. I believe you have to make an appointment with them, but definitely make sure that you check it out if you are in the Augusta metro area. As well as, we want to make sure we give you the ones that we know for a fact that are free. The Richmond County Health Department on Laney Walker Boulevard will have tests available from Monday each week from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. You do not need an appointment. Just, make sure that you check in that they have it at the same place, as well as the East Central Public Health District office on the North Leg Road. They will have it Wednesdays and Friday each week from 9 to 11 a.m. And this is for my Augusta people, Augusta metro area. This is for Richmond County. So we want to make sure that you guys have access to it. But for all those people around the state, your county health department website actually gives you the location of where to go get tested. Personally, I have gone and gotten tested in Fayette County and Henry County, and both of them have been extremely fast. I've gotten my test back in less than 48 hours. Now let's dive into COVID and universities. I think this is another unprecedented times. We've never had the college and universities deal with something that has disrupted the way that they teach, like Ms. Rona has come through and shaken up. So I definitely want to make sure that we talk about tuition. What do you guys think? I want to get your feedback. What do you think about the tuition? I know that most college universities are not changing the tuition. They have, definitely done a mixed program of where they modify it or moved it online. Do you think that these students should pay full tuition for a semester under these circumstances? I'm going to leave that open to you. I want to hear from you in the comments, so sound off. And the way that I feel is like it would be extremely difficult for these campuses to maintain the social distancing. I think at least most colleges that I've encountered, they focus on the community aspect of it and actually that bonding. And when it comes to not only fraternities and organizations, but also the dorms, that's where you start building those bonds that you maintain throughout college. And it's a little bit difficult to maintain that social distancing and 6 feet apart with that. So we want to make sure that we hear from you. Go in. And another one that I want to hear your feedback, just because I feel like we've seen it all online. Going fully online has been a challenge for a lot of our students, but also for the professors and teachers. So do you have any funny stories that you want to share that you've encountered with all of this? A lot of schools are and universities are starting, either already started or starting soon. So we want to hear from you. What are some funny stories that you've seen, either in your Zoom classes or just from your professor? Because I feel like a lot of us are learning as we go. And so definitely comment and let us know on any funny stories or any things that you experienced during these times. And then let's move on to student loans. So student loan payments, actually, Secretary DeBoss has actually suspended until the end of the year. And just to quote exactly what she said, she announced that all borrowers with federally held student loans will have their payments automatically suspended until 2021 without penalty. In addition, the interest rate of all federally held student loans will be set at 0% throughout the rest of the calendar year. So now I want to open it up to y'all as well. Is this enough? Or should we talk a little bit more about loan forgiveness? If they're able to stop the payments, why are they not canceling outright? Is that something that needs to be brought into the table? Please comment below. How do you feel about it? Please also comment how it would help if your loans are actually terminated and you don't have to where they're suspended. How would that help your livelihood? As young people, we have all dealt with it. So I want to hear from you how it would help your livelihood if your student loans are canceled. So now, finally, let's talk about a quick overview about the GACCN. We have a new Evan Marlborough that is joining us this next week. He is our campus organizer, and he'll give you a run through what specifically the GACCN is doing. But let me just give you a quick rundown so you are familiar with it. The Georgia Civic Campus Network is the first statewide campus network in Georgia, facilitating first-class civic engagement in partnership with faculty, administration of colleges and universities. We want to make sure that we are bringing in college campuses to reach out to those that have limited civic engagements, schools with high percentages of students of color specifically. Our staff, we want to make sure that we're working with administrators to make sure to support university-led voter engagement, coordinate with student, state, and national departments while always uplifting student voices. So if you want to hear more about it, please make sure to tune in next week. We are going to have Evan talk more about it. It's going to be a talk between him and I, speaking on what specifically we want to accomplish with this network. I think it's definitely going to be very exciting. And if you want to be involved, check us out at gaccn.org. You can sign up through there, and we make sure to have it to know more about it. And we want to make sure that all colleges and universities are put in to the fold. So if you think that your university should be part of it, make sure to let them know and sign them up at that website. And let's also talk about finally, and now I want to hear from you. I think that there's definitely a lot of different topics that we want to hear from, specifically during this time. We want to make sure we're tackling this information and we're giving you this time period where we can just talk about things that are interesting to you. I think this is our first time speaking fully with you. I want to make sure that this is a two-way street. So hearing from you, I want to hear what topics piqued your interest today that I discussed the most. And tell me, was it the student loans being canceled? Was it talking about Ms. Rona? Was it the absentee ballots? I think they're all of them that you can sound off in the comments which one you want to hear more about, or which topics you think is specifically something we want to discuss that are affecting young people of color in the state. So please sound off in the comments as that. And then finally, we will be back next week at the same time and place for another Tea Time with Brian, so make sure to join us. Ciao. Thank you for joining us. Okay, bye-bye.